Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at making sure you understand pregnancy-related coverage in your travel insurance policy. So what we've done is we've used the Southern Cross policy. Now, this was issued on the 16th of March 2003, so of course, if you're watching this, there may be a new policy out. We just want to say that this is purely published for an example to how to interpret in a travel insurance policy, should you be looking for pregnancy cover. We have no affiliation here with the Southern Cross document or anything like that. We just want to work through an example based on, some common scenarios. So we've chosen Southern Cross because it is widely popular, but it's certainly not an endorsement on Southern Cross. So what I think the best place to start is just go through these 4 scenarios. It's 4 different travelers from New Zealand and they're on holiday overseas. And let's just see what happens and basically how the insurance will respond to it. So first of all, scenario 1 is looking for cover for overseas childbirth. So as a background, Mia and Mark are on holiday in Europe, and unexpectedly, Mia goes into labor during the 23rd week of her pregnancy, and the premature baby is born and requires neonatal care in the local hospital. So in this situation, what actually happens? So we've said that the policy covers the cost of the childbirth as well as the neonatal care, but let's try and interpret as to where we get that sort of answer from. So if we go into the pregnancy section, and for any travel insurance policy, make sure you control F to pregnancy or, pregnant or something like that, because then you'll find the coverage that you're looking for. Now, so how we cover pregnancy, this is from Southern Cross, and what they've said straight away, it says we'll cover you for costs that are related to pregnancy, and then it says we will cover medical expenses related to pregnancy, including childcare, overseas childbirth up to the 24th week, so i.e. the 23 weeks and 6 days, and then neonatal care of the newborn child up until the date and time you return to New Zealand, and we wouldn't cover anything after the 24th week of gestation. Now, how does that compare to our example? I said this was in the 23rd week, so then that's covered. So, of course, if you're outside of that, then it wouldn't be covered. If you were traveling and you're in your 25th week, 26th week, or something beyond, and there was some complication or anything like that, or, an early birth, then, you wouldn't be covered. So that's why we published that, just to show you exactly how that works. Of course, go and look at your policy or any other policy and just have a read of the section, because it's going to tell you if you're covered or not. Now, if I compare this to the next scenario, so Helen and Mike plan a trip to Canada, and just before the trip, a doctor alerts them that they have a complication, and it makes it not safe to travel. So this is going to be cover for canceling or changing your journey. And if I go to the policy here, because she's under the 24th week, then I will just find that where it's going to talk about cancellation of your journey, then yes, that's going to be covered. If we clicked on that, then, and then they've said what the limits are, but because it's happened, as I said, it's happened on the 20th week, and it possibly could have happened before because, of course, they were planning the trip and maybe it was the 19th week, then it's going to be, it's going to be a covered event. So we've said that the policy will cover the cost of cancelling or changing the journey due to the medical complication, provided the advice came from, someone who actually is medically qualified. So then we've got the next scenario. So here we've got a situation of Tom is on a business trip overseas, and then back home his wife, who's 22 weeks pregnant, she's admitted to the hospital due to complications. So Tom needs to get back home very, very quickly, and this would be looking at cover. So what we have here, if we just go down to the policy, is it says we will pay for you to get back home to support a relevant person who's pregnant, and then that's going to be, cutting your journey short, and then it's a relevant person within 24 weeks of conception. So these are, that's the guidance they've provided. So because it was 22 weeks, then that would be covered. So that's one example of the coverage that Southern Cross is offering there. So finally, we'll look at pre-existing conditions. So here we have someone who has one, and it's come up in their previous pregnancies, and this is considered to be pre-existing per the policy. So if we have a look at the policy, pregnancy is really just covering common symptoms, but there will be a whole bunch of pre-existing conditions which people have, and so they need to be specifically covered. What we've said here is that in the case of Angie, she's now pregnant, she's planning an overseas trip, and she needs to go and get a medical assessment, and then Southern Cross or any insurer who's insuring is going to see if they insure it, and then they may not, and then what the cost of that would be if they do decide to insure it. So just be aware that if there are any pre-existing conditions that aren't standard pregnancy, then of course they need to be looked at and properly assessed. So thanks very much for watching. I want to say that every travel insurance policy is different, and it's really important to get into the details here, because while our guide is very comprehensive, and I've linked to it down below, we do know that there's a whole bunch of things. We're not a medical journal. We can't give we can't give any medical advice or anything like that within these guides. So we just want people to properly check what they're looking for and make sure it's covered, and looking at the risk, looking at the cost and everything like that, and then travel pregnant with peace of mind. So if you do have any general queries, please leave them down below. We're highly responsive to comments, and we really want to make sure our guides and everything is as comprehensive as possible. But as I say, please be aware that insurance policies can change frequently, and meaning that anything covered in this video, certainly for Southern Cross, may change. That's an absolute disclaimer. And just be aware that everyone is different, and policies will be more sort of useful for some people and not others. So make sure you look for the right policy for your needs. If you do have any questions, then the insurer is the only person to ask specific to the policy, because it's their policy, so they'll be able to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and best of luck looking for your travel insurance.